sound waves.
Yes, it's working.
So, Dr. Smith,
Not yet.
I wonder if you could tell us just what are cultural studies?
No, don't ask me that. I don't know. I basically tell my students it's the study of everything. Because
the life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah, the answer is 42.
It is.
I'm still trying to work out the answer to that, because I think it's one of these fields that draws from other fields, right? It draws from psychology, it draws from art, it draws from gender studies, it draws from pretty much everything else, and therefore it's constantly changing. So it's kind of hard to define what is, well, for me. If there's any other cultural studies professors out there, please let me know how you define it, because for me it's just like it's the study of everything, and everything's always changing. So what we're going to do is just each week we're going to put on a different pair of glasses and look at the world through the lens of gender studies, or the lens of postmodern theory, or the lens of see, now I've forgotten what I've also included on the syllabus, but psychoanalytic theory and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm
Get
also
your
teaching.
Derrida out.
I'm also teaching to students whose first language is Japanese or something else before it is English, and so I can't go too deep into it, which is a good thing, because I don't really know myself enough to go too deep. But it's kind of blended with like giving very kind of basic definitions of something, and then having the students like analyze what they can see in their environment using these things. So we watch a lot of Lady Gaga music videos, and like, what's she trying to represent here, and things like that.
That's so cool.
Fabulous.
So it was funny, because the university were like, yeah, we want you to teach cultural studies, and I said to my my coordinator, I was like, what exactly do you want me to teach? And she was like, anything. We don't really know. I was like, okay.
Anything related to culture.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty much.
To me, that feels like that's what I do with Jediah, our son, is I teach him cultural studies.
True.
And anything that we see, I try and deconstruct it, actually, about what is it, what is the intent, what is the sign, what is the inherent hypocrisy of the thing that we're looking at,
right?
It's just like parenting. That's what you do. You're just
And
we always like to have a conversation about like the difference between culture and cult, though, right? Because
we're in a cult. Yeah.
When you're so bought into the culture, it can become like the cult,
cultish,
right? Cultish,
yeah.
I've said to people many times that I think Ashtanga yoga will be, in 300 years, that thing the Japanese do.
Tell me more.
Because they seem to do it a lot better than we do, and they seem to do it a lot better even than they do it in India. Like, they're really quite dedicated. And and that was like, things were started to blossom and flower in Mysore. It was like going in the direction of Japan.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think also there's sort of like a lot of similarities, and you would know this being a cultural studies professor. But
masquerading as something,
But like the structure, the rules, the progression, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things I think that really connect culturally with like Japanese culture that maybe I think other cultures are less bought into.
Yeah, I think that you have you've got your primary series, and you're going to get given each pose when someone else determines that you're ready for it, and you progress on to the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. Well, possibly. If you're like me, you get stuck at Bhujangasana for 10 years, but it's
rightly so.
It's like having this set repetitive system that you know where to start, you see where you start, and someone's going to tell you how to get to the end, and when you can get, well, if not that there's an end, but how to get to the next stage and when you can get there. Like, you don't have to think so much. That sounds incredibly rude. I don't mean it to be like you don't have to use any kind of self-awareness, but like, it's given to you, right? And there is an authority that's giving it to you. And it's the same with my students here. It's like, your next stage was coming to university. You did the high school tests, you succeeded, you came to university, and now you're just playing the game of getting the next set of credits to get you to the next stage. And in your 4th year, you're going to go into this machine that churns you out into corporate Japan. And that similarity is kind of quite striking, I think. I've seen it's like someone else is going to tell you what to do next, and that's comforting, I think, for people here.
Whereas in England, they didn't like that at all. They they're really quite head up about my teaching style. And
really?
where I was,
you're quite rude.
Well, no, I'm authoritarian. And that was I was incredibly successful in a former Japanese colony in Taiwan. People loved me there. I was big in Taiwan, but no, the drive to critique each and every choice that I was presenting overwhelmed me as a young teacher in England. I was not prepared for that level of criticism.
That kind of headstrong
questioning.
Questioning of your authority.
I thought
it's a
Brighton
weird dynamic,
would be this easy place.
It is interesting.
I think
not at
here
all.
Also, like, there's that culturally here as well, it's like the teacher is respected no matter what. And
obeyed.
Like, I've played with they call it it's not even just teacher-student relationships. They call it the senpai kohai system. So the senpai is your senior, someone who's older or in a higher position to you, and if whether you agree with what they're doing or not, you have to respect it, and you have to show respect and do what they're telling you to do. So I think that plays a part in it as well, and we just don't have that in the UK. And I do remember
in Korea it's sambe and hube. Sambe hube, so very important. It's like the Korean students in Mysore, I would treat them as hube because it was a very important relationship.
You get blurred lines when I try and teach some of my university students here. Like, you can come and talk to me about whatever you want, yada yada. Let's just have fun in class, and you can just see them going cross-eyed because they're just like, no, that doesn't work for us. You tell us what to do, and we'll do it. And okay. They struggle with when I give them like an open-ended question and tell them like, okay, discuss this for 20 minutes, and they just look at me like I've gone mad, and I'm like, okay, you're going to need a bit more structure than that. All right, fine. That's what I'm hoping.
Here's some questions.
Yes.
Define these questions, get the answers, come back.
Tell me what you think cultural studies is. Something like that. But I do remember my first couple of years especially. I do remember kind of being quite headstrong and trying to fight back against that kind of teachers or like higher status, lower status mentality. And also being 20, I think I was 21. Like, I think I was just like, I've graduated university, I know everything there is to know, kind of arrogant as well. So that was playing into it. But that I think that aspect of culture here would be a good match for Ashtanga. And I think that's also where I've struggled with Ashtanga, is like I've always like I've only ever learned Ashtanga at home on my own online with harmonies classes and various other classes as well. But like, oh, if you can't do this pose, then you shouldn't move on to this pose. No, fuck you, I'm gonna don't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do it anyway, and end up with a hernia.
Britain ruled the world, man.
Right? Yeah, colonize this as well. But yeah, it was a struggle. And I think that's now why I've just been stuck in Bhujangasana for God knows how long, because I'm like, well, I don't really want to go any further
now. To that point, I think it's extremely interesting is when I lived in Korea and when I lived in Taiwan, the notions that I was kind of presented with, especially in Korea, which is probably the seat of Confucianism in the world, is this notion that Kongjanim or Confucius is something that children should learn, so that they learn to obey, they learn order, they learn to be good students out in the world. At a certain point in their lives, they must learn Nojanim, which is to say Taoism. And they have to learn how to explode and break out of these categories to become human beings. And it's something that old people do. And you have to go through this process of life to understand how to be a free living creature of the world. And that struck me as something else that you said, and to quote you again, in the past, it was through pranayama and meditation that I got these very brief glimpses of something I don't think English has the words to describe. It's not bliss, but it's better than that. It's not nothingness, because it's far from empty. And the kind of Zen phrase came to me of suchness. There's a kind of sense of suchness. And that's the kind of, like, Zen is that, again, that kind of thing that comes to us after years of oppressive Confucianism. Of being held in an Ashtanga box for 30 years, and then you can start to flower and experience, liberation.
Yes, liberate. I was about to say liberation, and it's liberation that's not like a complete reckless sense of freedom, but it's like you've got a certain measure, or you're aware that you have a certain measure of self-control, and you control what's happening in these moments, and you've set, I don't know if this is making any sense, but you've set some kind of boundaries of like, this is what's okay, this is what's not okay, and then you can just kind of exist there. I don't know if that sounds really esoteric and kind of difficult to relate to, but like, and it's, I think I had these moments, like very, very short 2 or 3 second moments that happen probably like once every, 5 years, of like, suchness of like, this is what it's all about. Like, this is complete acceptance, and I'm not out of control. I'm completely within awareness. I know where I am and who I am and what I'm doing and what's going on, but I'm also completely free. And then reality comes back in. It's like, but I'm also stuck in some kind of pose. Now I've got the giggles because I can't get myself out of it, and I'm home alone giggling and looking like a turtle. But suchness, I think I can relate to that. I think I'm just for a language teacher, I'm not being particularly articulate about it. It's difficult for me to describe.
Well, how can you describe something that is undescribable?
It's beyond language, like you said, right? There's not really any words for it.
If it could be held by a word, it wouldn't be that.
It wouldn't be that. Yeah, exactly. And that kind of like not being able to describe something has happened, in these situations of that, like those couple of seconds of whatever that is, and also coming out of that that relationship that we talked about earlier, of a lot of people will say, like, okay, you need to go to therapy, you need to go to therapy, you need to talk about this. And it's like, I don't have the words to articulate what all of that was about. I can't talk about it. I don't know where to start or what to say. And it's like that same level of like, there are no words sometimes. And that's just where the yoga comes in, I think, and just works its magic.
It's the somatic therapy of feeling and releasing, and you don't have to know where that feeling came from. You don't have to even name that feeling. You can just experience it, be with it, and watch it arise, watch it pass away, and then it's gone. And it's gone, incredible, and right? It's such a great release.
It is. You just, and I remember this when we were, I think it was our last session in B school, you did the visualization exercise with us. And you had us kind of visualize where, like, in a place, and like you hand yourself a present, and you get
the future, like the future self. And
the message, that whole session that we had has just stuck with me.
Amazing.
Because the message that I got was live lightly, essentially. And I think that describes those moments, kind of like you just get to be a bit lighter.
Beautiful.
And and then SpongeBob made an appearance.
That was so sweet.
Can you talk more about that relationship the two of you have? You met in something called a B school. So I imagine you had like the little puffer spray in the hat, and you'd harvest probably every season the kind of sequester of honey.
Ellie was in my B school mastermind a couple years ago, and that was sort of the beginning of a whole new...
So the queen bee is a kind of mastermind of B school.
Marie Forleo, the queen bee.
The queen bee.
But it was the beginning of like really a new path for you that's just blossomed and is incredible. Tell us about what you created and how it's continued to grow and evolve.
Still creating,
creating,
B school came, so that was August 2021, and I think that was like we were mid-pandemic.
100%.
We're still pandemic here, so who knows what the mid is at this stage, but it was at the time when I think everyone was having that kind of like reassessment of life, and I was going through the same thing, because I think was realizing that academia I love teaching, I love my students here, but this whole world of academia, it's not for me. I don't even know what cultural studies is, and yet I teach it, so that's probably a big sign that
that's a tell.
It's not for me.
It's a tell.
But I think I was just going through a reassessment, and just the way that the pandemic had kind of unfolded here, work life was also another kind of realization, like this isn't quite working out for me. And we have students here who are really struggling, I think, with depression and anxiety, and it's alarmingly getting worse. So I was kind of thinking like, well, I can't really do much in class. I can't step outside of my role, and I wouldn't want to step outside my role as educator there, because I'm highly unqualified to do anything beyond that. Highly unqualified to do that, some might argue, but it was kind of like using that to just kind of reassess, like, what is it that I do want to do, and I honestly had no idea. And I was like, I want it to be something to do with yoga. And in B school, you were talking about B school on Instagram, and I was like, I've always had this kind of glamorous idea of having my own business at some point, and never really knowing how to go about it. And yeah, so I think I spent quite a while umming and ahhing, like, well, should I, shouldn't I? It's quite a big investment, and I don't have a business. I don't know what I want to do. I don't, and I just pressed the yes button. And then I told my spent a lot of money. And he was supportive. And yeah, so then it was through B school and just being with, I think at that stage, such a really cool group of people who were further along in their ideas than I was. Most of us anyway. I think people had a fairly concrete idea in that group of what they wanted to do. And it was just really nice to be with like-minded people who were just so kind and supportive, and nothing that you said was daft. Not you. I mean, nothing that I said was daft or taken as daft. Like, nothing was, any kind of question was okay. And going through B school was intense. I mean, that was a 6-week roller coaster. But you have it for life, right? And I've been going back through it and back through it so many times. But then that really helped me to kind of understand, okay, I do want to do something with yoga. I do want it to do with beginners yoga, because I think that's quite an underserved community. An underserved group of people is really like the yoga curious or the yoga apprehensive people. And then and also I'm not much further on myself, so I can't really do anything more than that. But and doing it online, because I do want to essentially at some point be location independent if possible. Because I've spent 10 years commuting long distances to work as well. So now it's just I've spent the last year building a website, and I think looking back I would have paid someone to do it now. It's not done yet, but it's getting there.
You can always remodel later.
Yeah. And then so just to kind of
Harmony and I are both yoga apprehensive ourselves.
Right.
And so how would we get it approach?
How would we work with Ellie?
How could we approach doing something that we're apprehensive about?
Well, first you had this idea to teach like to help Japanese students learn English through yoga, right?
Oh, that's nice.
And then it's kind of like developed into a much bigger vision.
Yeah, so I did put together a short in-person course about yoga and English. And I think that's something I would probably think about further down the line. Because that course was fun, but I think it could be a hell of a lot better than I had actually made it. And I think I spent a lot of time trying to marry like what I do now with what how does yoga fit into that? And I was trying to fit teaching English into that. And then I was starting to look at it and think, well, the people who are asking me about yoga, people who've either tried it once or twice and been put off by it for one reason or another. And that speaks to what Bella was saying about, teachers have been kind of rude to some of the people talking to me about it, about, their level of flexibility or their size, and all these irrelevant things. And and then just lots of people were like, how do you get started? Like, what's it about? Like, what is it about yoga that's worked for you? And then I was bringing like aspects of it into my classes here at the university, because I had a couple of students. We do a lot of presentations here in my classes, because I can't think of anything better to do, for one thing. We do a lot of presenting, and they get extremely nervous before presenting or before any kind of like standing up in front of people and talking. So we started to bring in kind of like breathing techniques into that, because a lot of the students are like, we know, like I had a student who said like, I can label everything that's happening to me. Like I can feel my heart is racing. I can feel like I've just lost I'm hallucinating essentially, and doesn't matter how, because I was just like, oh, just practice. He's like, it doesn't matter how much I've practiced. I know this presentation off by heart, but when I stand up in front of my peers, everything goes. And I was like, well, why don't we try? I think we've tried just really simple breathing techniques, like even just like pre-pranayama stuff, preparation, and like bringing that in to teaching yoga to beginners as well, because I think yoga for public speaking could be a thing. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
absolutely, it could be.
Totally.
The asana, the pranayama, all of that can kind of really help prepare people for standing up in front of a group of people and speaking with their actual authentic voice, and not like really fast and really high pitched and just hoping it's going to be over in 10 minutes. So I think that's kind of that's where I'm going to be able to marry what I've been doing the last 17 years with yoga. But for now, it's more just figuring out how things go business wise, using beginners, yoga for beginners as a niche, because that just tends to be what people are asking me about, like beginner yoga practitioners are people who are coming to me at the moment.
That's a great place to start.
I want to work with the beginner yogas.
The beginner yogas.
The beginner yogas.
It's amazing. It's so good.
That sounds like a true dharma, actually. That you've identified where in your life you can combine different facets of yourself. It's really synchronistic is what it sounds like.
And also really give people, this is what I love, is like give people the skills and the tools that they can use to really improve their life in a really practical, immediate, tangible way. And I think sometimes that gets a bit lost. When people are chasing enlightenment or liberation or the, ineffable experience. But this is like something really important, actually. It's important to maybe your work, your future, your health, your nervous system, and just giving those tools to really support people. And I mean, that can change someone's life.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. But
totally.
I think also just like that, when I really sat down and thought about it, which was out of the 6 weeks of B school, like I had to kind of, once it was over, like sit down and really go deep into like, who is my ICA? And part of it was like, well, after that relationship, like I said earlier, like I didn't know how to express myself. I spent so long just not saying things for fear of repercussions. But then I found myself kind of like, oh, I don't know how to like talk to people, and like meeting new people was hell. And being able to,
I agree.
I think I always just came across as that kind of like really, I mean, maybe even still now, but like cheesy and awkward, and like that person of like, hi, how are you? Nice, it's really nice to meet you. Please be my friend, kind of person. And like the yoga has kind of helped ease that. Hello, as well.
So sorry.
No, I love it. So just bringing that into it, because that's how it worked for me, because I'm not giving presentations myself, but then that would also work for my students, because they are, or anyone who's doing any kind of public speaking. So I mean, we'll see how that goes, but right now it's just focusing on beginners.
If you don't mind me interrupting, I barely pay any attention at all to what Harmony does in her professional life. What is an ICA?
Ideal customer avatar.
What?
Your ideal customer, your ideal client, or your
Why
ideal
do you
student.
say avatar? These are real people, aren't they?
Well, it's like Lululemon's ideal customer avatar is like a 33-year-old woman, I think.
That's a real person.
Yeah. They have a name and a job and a family potentially, depending on their age.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're divorced. Sometimes they're remarried.
I did that once for my mom's company. Actually, I know what you mean. I thought that was I've never heard the word avatar used, but it was like the ideal client or something like that.
Right. Like,
we either had a 55-year-old Karen who drives a Volvo and is the hospital recruiter in Wilmington, Vermont. Right. Or you've got Dr. Jiang, who is a 33-year-old with 3 kids who drives a Mercedes, and like we're trying to marry those two. We try to marry those two together, and that's the job. That's why we have urology recruiters, is to put those two people together. That makes it an avatar. Those two people are avatars. Yes. Karen and Dr. Kim.
Avatars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the movie.
Yeah. An ICA. Yeah. It's so wonky, an ICA. That's like, it's what kind of word is that when you have
an acronym?
It's the inside terminology of your
insider language.
Culture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one beautiful thing about being a past B school student is we get to do the Dream Business Bootcamp Challenge coming up this week. Yes. February 7th, 8th, and 9th, which is free.
Doing that?
February 7th, 8th, and 9th. I can. Yeah.
Yeah. and then also B School is all new this year. So Marie's gone in and refurbished, re-recorded, all new fun sheets, all new videos. And you get, because you have B School for Life, you get the new content, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So
God knows
we get to go through it all again.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it. Yeah. I mean, I'm so thankful that it is for life, because those 6 weeks were fantastic. But I've spent the last year and a half going back and back and back. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a lot, but it's really good that it also that you've got lifetime access, and also lifetime access to everything that's updated as well. So I'm definitely going to be going back in, I think.
Me too. I think it's so good, especially like when you are building, a business or a yoga class or any kind of offer, a workshop or retreat. It's helpful to kind of go in and revisit some of the lessons in there and create a bit of clarity around it. And, refocus sort of, who is this for? What am I trying to help people with? What do I want their experience to be inside of this class or this program? Or it just helps to really focus the mind and grow your business in a way that's intentional rather than by default or by mistake.
Haphazard.
Haphazard.
I think for me it's like every yoga class that I do, like one of the teachers I followed online, I can take her classes again and again, and you hear new cues each time, right? And like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's the same. It was the same with B School, like going back into the classes and like re-going through everything numerous times. You've always got new stuff coming in, and like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to do it. That clicks now. Okay. So it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but it's a hell of a lot of fun too. Like getting to be this creative. And I had never put the words business and creative together until B School. Right.
Yeah.
And
it's true though. It is a very creative process, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they say process in Canada.
Process. I don't know.
Are you not picking that up from me, are you? It's terrible.
Yeah, you get to, it's like all the writing and even just like, envisioning what you want your website to look like and creating it and bringing it to life. I love that.
Yeah. And I think I was initially kind of like holding back before signing up, because I was like, well, I don't know anything. I haven't got a business. I'm not even a yoga. I wasn't certified at that point. I'd been practicing for several years, but and I would say, like, I'm quite glad I didn't let that hold me back, because even like knowing nothing and not having anything, I think even just joining and investing in it definitely propels you to do something. But it was just having that guidance and having a group of people who were so lovely, and it really meant a lot at that time in life as well, to have like that really nice pocket of the internet, who were like really supportive, because like some of us were right at the beginning and had no idea what to do, and some of us were like 2 steps ahead, and some of us were 10 steps ahead, and then there's you mentoring us, and it was fantastic, and I'm really grateful that was there at that time as well, I think.
What was the trigger for you signing up? Because that seems like quite a big leap to make.
So I might get emotional at this part, but my dad passed away in April of 2020, right when Japan right when the whole world had decided to kind of stop any kind of international travel, and Japan unfortunately kind of kept that for a few years, and I think that for me was a kind of a catalyst, a reassessment there, because when that happened, of course, that was right at the beginning of the semester, and right when our university, or every university, was trying to decide, do we go in person or do we go online? And I think the very next day, our university said, okay, we're going online. And it was mad panic of, okay, we've got to get everything ready, we've got to do it. And this is where we learn that Japan is not actually as technically advanced as we might think, and people were kind of struggling to use Zoom and struggling to use learning management systems, and students don't have access to computers at home. They don't know how to use a computer for a lot of them. And I think I had basically then spent the next 3 to 6 months just ignoring the fact that this horrible thing had happened at home, and I had just focused on getting through the semester and getting the students through the semester. And I think at the end of that semester, I remember saying to my brother, like, I sat down on the couch and it felt like someone had just handed me this really heavy load of not just dad dying, but I'd lost a best friend several years beforehand, and all of that relationship stuff, that it just all just came landing in my lap, and I was like, something has to change. Like, I can't be working like this and not dealing with these things, and something has to change, and I want to be working on my own terms. I want to have my own time to process things. I want to be able to, I need a bit of control, I guess, in life, because it felt like everything was just kind of, I was losing control. And that's, I think, really what was the catalyst for me joining B School. Was like, I mean, it kind of came at the right time. It's like, hey, you can have this life. And it's like, oh, could I? Okay.
Really? Is it possible?
Yeah. And it's just, it's been hard work, but it's been definitely worth it, I think. Just taking that, because I think that was kind of a big realization for me, of like, I'm not dealing with things, and I'm possibly blaming outside influences, and I actually just need to deal with it myself. And I've got yoga. I did end up in therapy, I think, at one point, and then just started to kind of like claw back some control, and hopefully doing proud along the process, along the way, as well.
For sure.
Because he'd be the first person to be like, just do it, you never know what's going to happen. Like, you can almost hear him in my ear just being, you never know. Like, just do it. Go for it.
So, that's so nice.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah. And it's nice to build a dream. It's nice to like work on your own thing and be creating something for your future too. So like you say, you know, if you want to leave Japan at some point, you have this other business that you've created for yourself that you can take anywhere in the world. And that's it's something that's yours.
Right. And it's something you can leave behind as well. I think like there's some kind of, I think I've struggled here with teaching. I find myself struggling with like, am I actually really making an impact? 'Cause you never really know. Because for a lot of students, it is just getting to that next level to get into corporate Japan. But I think, this would be something like I could, you know, possibly, if it works out, leave behind as well. And just like have, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, it feels worth it. It feels like this is the right thing to be doing, I think, as well. So Beautiful. Don't let not having anything hold you back, I think.
Yeah, it started like a whole snowball for you. I remember you were like, I'm signing up for a teacher training and I'm going to teach yoga. And it was like, wow, you're doing everything all at once.
I did it all at once. Yeah, I think that was, but that teacher training also was fantastic. I got really lucky using them. And then from there doing other trainings with some really fantastic teachers as well. And then, I think, it has. It's just snowballed. It has been a lot of work, but it's not been like laborious work. It's had its moments, but it's been a hell of a lot of fun. Is all I can really say. And that could be my epitaph at the end.
I love it. A hell of a lot of fun.
Hell of a lot of fun. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think,
well, we're gonna put your website in the show notes, but you can tell everyone what it is here so they can go look it up.
Oh, it's highly imaginatively. It's just elliesmithyoga.com. It's not completely finished yet. It's a work in progress. But it hopefully over the next few years it's going to grow into something much more than it already is. Just come say hi. And I'm on Instagram as well. Also Ellie Smith Yoga, because I've got no imagination.
No, it's good. So, it's easy to remember. You know, you remember clarity over cuteness or something, or clarity over
cleverness. That's it. Yeah.
Cleverness. Yes.
Yeah. So, don't try and be clever.
Job. Just be clear. Don't be clever.
It's me and yoga. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Wonderful. Well, I'm sure you're going to get some looky-loos, some new followers, and
likey-looky.
Welcome. Yeah, likey-looky.
And thank you so much for just meeting with us and being on our podcast and talking about your experience and your growth through yoga and Japan.
Thank you for having me.
This felt like an in-depth cultural studies lesson for.
Fine. I might get someone being like, "That is not what cultural studies is about." No, thank you for having me. This has been a hell of a lot of fun.
Hell of a lot of fun.
It was really good.
I think we have a title there.
You know,
a hell of a lot of fun with Ellie Smith.
Well,
Harmony gives me a hard time because I'm so lazy and insular. I just want to do my own damn thing in the corner of the house. But you love doing it and you love meeting new people. I said, no, I don't.
He's always like, let's stop the podcast.
I don't.
I'm like,
I don't like meeting new people, and I don't like it. And it's always so much fun.
Right.
And I feel like a damn blooming idiot.
Miser.
So.
Yeah. No. But
it's really nice to meet you.
It's better that way around, isn't it?
That's true.
Oh, you're a bit of a...
No, it's like we get to leave the house every once in a while and interview someone, you know?
Are we in Japan today?
We're in Japan today.
Well, she's really like, you read her bio, she's really
drinking green
funny.
tea.
I like her. It's nice. I'm going to ask her about suchness, is what I thought to myself. That'll be good. That'll be good. It'll be food.
Well, please enjoy some ramen for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I shall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ramen. Yeah.
Ramen. I've actually got my tea here.
Yes. When I was in Japan, I got to go to one of those restaurants, and I mean, it's totally normal there probably, but for me, it was like really fun and novel, where you get to order your ramen or your food from like the little computer at the front. Yeah. And then you go into like your little booth, and it's like singular, and no one talks to you, and no one they just give you your food, and then you eat it all alone.
It's all like a Philip K. Dick novel of the future.
Yeah, it was so fun. It was so interesting. Yeah, it was
those
great.
Machines. I've had some real faux pas with those machines because I have to go by the pictures. Because I can't, I'm like, oh God, I don't know what I'm ordering. And you end up ordering like a feast for about 15 people. I'm like,
oh my God. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Just power through because can't leave any of it. But they're fantastic. Might get some ramen.
It was fun.
That'd be good.
Yeah, there's so many fun things.
We should go have some ramen
they're
ourselves.
They're just normal to you now, but
it's interesting when I get visitors because it's like the things that people are surprised at here, and I'm like, really? That's what surprises you?
But I like the printer in the 7-Eleven, or you know, like the
I hate that
you
thing.
can print posters in the 7-Eleven. Like, what? This is crazy.
Yes. Yeah. You can print, and every single time I use it, it runs out of ink or paper, and I have to go and ask people, and I need your help, or I've run out of money, and it just stops printing halfway through. But they are very convenient. The convenience stores here.
Yes, ultra convenience stores, super convenience stores.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's useful.
Well, thank you so much. It was so beautiful
to
really reconnect
Thank
with
you. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah. And
you're a delight.
It's the first time anyone's described me that way. I've had a lot of other different things. A delight. I'll take that.
Yes, a delight.
Thank you.
You're a hell of a delight.
You should.
I like it. Thank you. And give